well, until the late night one that I believe Richard will be hosting. Best of luck to both players. You're going to get counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris! While both players are setting up for the beginning of the games, I'm going to read off some of the followers that we got for today's stream. City Bill, thank you for the follow, as well as GamerZPlay725 and PokeMain1233. Thank you to the three of you for following Classic Tetris League on Twitch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see if we can get to 3,020 followers. Oh, Sodium with a hang of that long bar there. But luckily it is level 18, so should be okay, and is okay. Tetris 4, Sodium there. That did look a little bit scary there for a second, but... Oh, and a couple awkward placements of L pieces again for Sodium. Again, sometimes it makes me... Sometimes these types of moves by players, like, I sometimes question, is it on purpose or not? Because, like, sometimes players are that good that they can see stuff like this, and, like, they'll do it on purpose because it makes their board better or something. Sodium makes it work, gets a Tetris, but DanV has the early lead here on 139, Sodium 128. DanV gonna get another Tetris to go to 162. And a Tetris again for DanV here. As well as another Tetris for Sodium. Both with clean boards at the moment. Sodium with a high left side. Kind of has that staircase formation going here. And it's working out as Sodium gets another Tetris, as does DanV. So DanV with a 2.5 Tetris lead now. On 257, Sodium 199, Tetris to go up to 222. DanV responding right back with another Tetris of his own there. Both players, again, still have a clean board. But Sodium with a slightly high center, opting or owing to those two square pieces there. But is getting everything squared away, no pun intended. As the well is back open, Sodium Tetris ready. Looking for that long bar. Long bar arrives. Tetris for Sodium. As Dan now has a roughly 2.5 Tetris lead here on 329. Sodium 277. You're going to call cap on the no pun intended. Okay, how much would you like to wager on that assumption? That I did not intend on the pun? Because you are calling cap on it. But what if I'm not capping? What if I'm not capping, Pines? What about that? What are you going to do then? You'll have lost everything. Your reputation for calling cap is in question now. I can't believe you'd question the AdamIrish experience on something like this. It's brave, I'll give you that, but it's unwise. 379 for Dan, 349 for Sodium. Sodium getting the Vits done there. Where's Jasmine when you need her? Tetris 4, Sodium now up to 372, DanV 403. Yeah, exactly. Are you gonna just... Pine's just gonna take it. Alright, well, I win. And you shouldn't have backed down because I was capping. You were right, but you backed down. So I win. I called your bluff. Tetris for DanV. Another Tetris for DanV here. Sodium now with a dirty column 8 Tetris setup on row 2. Opts to take a double and triple instead. I'll bet all of my worthless CTL points on this. Hey, don't hurt the worthless CTL points feelings. What did they ever do to you? Other than maybe lose a lot of them betting on matches. Like, those points, you know, they have lives, they have, like, jobs and dreams and stuff, you know? And you just crushed them all. $552 now for Dan, $491 for Sodium, which will be his transition score into level 19. $576 for DanV here, so 2.5 Tetris lead as DanV now extends that to 3.5 with another Tetris there. Sodium responds with a Tetris of his own. Nice T-spin as well. You don't need to bet on matches when you can bet on Adam capping, but you didn't bet! You didn't bet, Pines! I called your bluff, and I won! The house always wins. The AdamIrish experience always wins. Unless it's CTWC DAS. In that case, I didn't. Then again, I guess qualifying is a win, I suppose. 619 for Sodium, 656 for DanV, as both players scoring Tetris after Tetris, almost a simul Tetris there. Couple of frames away from that. Yeah, the source of income, like, think about Kafka's here. Think about, like, the amount of hard work they get to get those CTL points. How it benefits the wife, the kids. How many cars and houses someone can buy with the CTL points. Tetris for Sodium. DanV is Tetris ready here. Tetris for DanV. And another Tetris for DanV to go to 824. Level 23 for both players here. Back and forth as DanV has that 2 Tetris lead still there. DanV opens the well back up as Sodium now puts it down to a 1 Tetris lead. DanV puts it back to 2. It's again still back and forth Tetris land here. That's an incredibly powerful story, Kafkas. That's an incredibly powerful story. It's incredibly emotional. People should lead by example after you. And also make terrible bets. 918 for DanV. 864 for Sodium for legal reasons. That's a joke. Unless it regards the channel points, then do what you want. 897 for Sodium. 983 for DanV. And DanV now getting a max out with that Tetris on level 26. $963 now for Sodium. Both players with clean boards as DanV getting another Tetris. Both players on level 27 now. 1,081,000 for DanV. 964 for Sodium here. Oh, and this board isn't looking great for DanV here. A massive gaping hole in the stack. And with it being this close to 29 here, DanV is looking to get this at least as cleaned up as possible, as quickly as possible. DanV still leading on 1,097,000. Sodium 1,072,000, and that is in thousands. DanV doing good work to get that board as clean as possible. Transitions on 1,105,000 points. Sodium 1,115,000. It is almost even here. DanV is gonna get that dig done, and now is Tetris ready. Where's the long bar? DanV opts to burn it down instead. Stays alive. Sodium, meanwhile, is Tetris ready, and there's the Tetris. Tetris for Sodium takes the lead. 1,072,000 to 1,172,000 to 1,148,000. So Sodium ahead by about a Tetris here. But that was one heck of a dig from DanV, and both players are fighting through the levels here. Level 32 now as the lead goes back and forth. DanV with a bit of cleanup to do, gets the cleanup done. DanV looking for that long bar in column 7, but it's not going to arrive! And DanV tops out at 1,204,000 points. Sodium on 1,219,000 will take game number 1. 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 . 1 GG's, and it looks like Sodium could be mullining this one out. Oh, but bit of a hang of that L piece there, so if he is going to mullen this out, we're going to just see if he's able to get that done. Does get the left well back open. We'll hope to slide a long bar in there, but now a 34, 35 piece drought there. Sodium did well just to survive that, but GG's. 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris. But players will start off their game with a Tetris here. Once again, going to plug the Matcherino here. If you want to contribute to the prize pool for the end of the season, you can do so using the command !Matcherino, following the link and contributing. If we get to $400 during this stream, one of the games that I'll be commentating here, I will do in the most Irish accent you will ever hear. It's incredible. And it especially would be incredible to do it in front of DanV, to show my true patriotism in the face of the Brits. Tetris for DanV, Tetris for Sodium here. DanV currently leading by a Tetris. Nice tuck with the T-piece for Sodium, good adjustment, and gets the Tetris at the end of it. Simul Tetris for both players there. DanV immediately Tetris ready again. Both players virtually even on scores right now as DanV gets another Tetris to go up to 183. Sodium responding. 186 to 205. DanV in the lead by 19,000 points. Bit of an unfortunate placement of that S piece there for Sodium, but makes it work with the J piece, so actually kind of worked out. As Sodium now Tetris ready in column 8. There's the long bar, Tetris for Sodium. Chen saying, "Go Dan" in the chat. I will not comment. No comment at all. Because, of course, my background requires me to not comment on that kind of support. But I'm sure DanV appreciates it. 259 for Sodium, 298 for DanV. So now, almost a 2 Tetris lead here for Dan, who is Tetris ready. Takes a triple there to get the board cleaned up again. Both players are still waiting for this long bar. So now getting into the 30s in the piece drought here. Still waiting for that long bar, 36 now. Both players doing very well to keep burning, and then finally, DanV gets the long bar there. An incredible 39 piece drought survived by both players there. That takes guts, and both players have it. 361 for Dan, 296 for Sodium, as both players now just over halfway towards level 19 transitions here. Tetris for Sodium and Dan here. Both players are approaching 100 lines now with clean boards. Sodium with the nicer looking board here, I would say, but Dan is Tetris ready, and we'll get a Tetris down there. Keeps the lead at 456. Sodium 413. Sodium Tetris ready. Oh, but missed the tuck with the O piece there. So now we'll have to do some cleanup. But it is a very quick solve there. Nice one-line solve for Sodium there. Quick to recover that misplacement. Tetris for Sodium. goes up to 459. Dan on 525, so just under a 3 Tetris lead here for Dan now. Tetris again for Sodium and Dan as well, so this lead's still staying at about 66,000 points, around 3 Tetrises. Sodium's going to bring it down to 2 there. Tetris again for Dan. And another Tetris for Dan, up to 617 now. Sodium 529, now 552. And another Tetris for Sodium. DanV responds right back and goes to level 19, 641. An incredible transition score there for DanV. Another good one for Sodium as well, 600,000. Both players getting 600Ks here into level 19. Tetris for Dan to go to 666. Sodium 624 has brought this lead back down to about 1 3/4 Tetrises. But now we're starting to get into the business end of the game here. Level 19 and beyond. Now level 20 for both players. Tetris for Dan to go to 743. Sodium 673 responding with a Tetris of his own to go to 698. Dan looking for the skim there. Does get it done. Is Tetris ready? Tetris for Sodium. Dan still holding out for that long bar. There it is. Tetris for Dan. To 772 now. Sodium 725, still behind by about just under 2 Tetrises here. Dan in control of the board at the moment. Sodium with a little bit of cleanup to do. Tetris for DanV. Now up to 829, 2.5 Tetris lead now. And Sodium getting these burns done. Some good placements here. Would love a T-piece, gets a T-piece. And has the board cleaned up again. Has a long bar dependency in column 3. Tetris again for Dan, up to 919, 148,000 point lead as Dan has taken full advantage of Sodium's burning there. Tetris for Sodium to go up to 799, but DanV on 949 on level 24 here. And another Tetris for Dan as he's looking for a max out into level 25. And that's what DanV is going to get max out. Level 25, 1,010,000 points. Sodium on 860, still on level 24, 863 into level 25. DanV with an 83% Tetris rate here. This is impressive stuff from DanV. Now on level 26, 1,073,000. Sodium 864. $210,000 point lead, but there's still plenty of Tetris to play. Sodium can still get this caught up. It only takes DanV having to dig for a while for Sodium to bring this lead down, which is exactly what's happening. DanV is in a little bit of a dig, which means that Sodium's cut the lead down to about 150,000 points. Oh god, I got a bit lightheaded there. Drank some water. I'm okay, folks. Don't worry. Tetris is just that good. Both players now hitting max out. Sodium getting it on level 27. DanV now on 1,166,000. Level 29 is arriving for both players here, and DanV is going to get there on 1.2 million points. Oh, and Sodium hanging the L piece there. And is gonna have to deal with that on transition to 29. And hits transition on 1,056,000. Sodium looking to try to survive this, but can't get anything done. Too high up, topside at 1,058,000. Unlucky for Sodium. DanV will take game number 2. We're all square at 1-1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris. How I not go refill water between matches? I forgot. I did an oopsie doopsie, Arbara, or not Arbara, Ian, and I forgot. don't know why I said Arbaro. I think I misread it or something, I don't know. But yeah, I'm good. Angry orc face. The second angry orc face for calling Treeman jokes. I've only ever passed out, like, twice in my life. The first time I passed out was when I was, like, 11. And I passed out in the middle of my school hall because I got really sick. And I passed out. The second time was, like, 3 weeks later when I came back and I was doing a school presentation. I was doing a presentation in front of my class. And I got so nervous that I literally passed out. Like, right there. Those are the only 2 times I've ever passed out in my life. And the third time was also almost now. Anywho, both players playing well so far. Tetris for Sodium. DanV almost Tetris ready. Well, is Tetris ready? I don't know why I said almost. Is Tetris ready. Tetris for DanV. Waited for that long mark. Got it in the end. One time on the closing number of a musical, our oboe player passed out from holding a very high note for a very long time while standing. That's a lot of times. I mean, twice in 20 years of life, I guess, but I think the second time was probably related to the first time, because it was 3 weeks after I passed out the first time, and I had a really bad infection. Dirty Tetris for DanV. Currently, Sodium has the lead on 234. DanV 219. Ouch. Hope the guy was okay, AV. Somehow the roof of didn't pierce the roof of his mouth with the reed. Yeah, glad he's okay. Sounds really scary. Ian Keith equals Arbaro confirmed. DanV, Tetris ready here, currently leading, well, not currently leading, Sodium's currently leading on 328, DanV 334. I'm okay, guys, I promise. I'm just a bit, surprised that I managed to make myself lightheaded, but I'm all good now. 373 for Sodium, 358 for DanV. Both players are just over the halfway mark into level 18. Level 19 transitions will be coming in about 50 lines or so for both players. And a nice fit there for Sodium. Tetris for DanV up to 403. Takes the lead now. But Sodium's going to respond right back and get a Tetris of his own to go to 419. The staple was bent, but the reed was otherwise totally fine. Well, I guess that... glad to hear that the oboe was okay. Compared to the person. Glad to hear the oboe was mostly unharmed in that event. That is the most important part of the story. Yeah, the instrument was also fine. Tetris for DanV here, going up to 473. Sodium 489 as both players now across the 100 line mark here. Five-star head hat saying happy much. Who, me or the players? I'm quite happy. I'm quite satisfied. I had a good day today. Work was pretty nice. Got a nice bite to eat after it. As for the players, I don't know. Pretty much even here. 565 for DanV, 560 for Sodium. Both players are Tetris ready here. And And Tetris for both players here, as both are now approaching level 19 transitions in about 10 lines or so. Both with 83% Tetris rates here. Nice split double for DanV, as Sodium gets a single there. Tetris for Sodium, and Tetris for DanV as well. DanV has the lead on 615, Sodium 612, and that will be Sodium's transition score. DanV's is 617. Virtually nothing to separate these two as we enter level 19 here. Tetris for DanV to go up to 670, 666 for Sodium. DanV with another Tetris, 695. Dan has a clean board right now. Meanwhile, Sodium with just a tiny bit of work to do, but has the board clean now. DanV Tetris ready. There's the long bar Tetris for DanV, up to 723 now. It looks like we've eclipsed 100 viewers. Thank you, guys. And, PI03, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate that. Didn't see that earlier. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Hopefully we can get to 3,020 before the end of the stream. We just need 3 more follows for that. So make sure to hit that follow button if you haven't already to stay up to date with the Classic Tetris League, and you can also turn on notifications to be notified every time we go live, which you should. You should always be notified when Classic Tetris League goes live. It's great. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's near daily top-level action. 821 for DanV, 764 for Sodium, now up to 793. Oh yeah, and don't forget about the Matcherino. I've been plugging it many times, but I'll do it again. If you want to contribute to the prize pool for Season 26 so that the best players this season can get their fair compensation for a grueling battle throughout this season, then you can go ahead and do so using the command that Kingsman just put in, or just by following the link. If we get to 400, you know what I'll do. The true AdamIrish experience commentary will happen. 976 for DanV, 915 for Sodium. Tetris Sodium to go to 946. So just under a Tetris leader, and Sodium pretty much gets us even. DanV max out into level 26 here on 1,009,000 points. Tetris for DanV again, 1,042,000. Sodium, 1,011,000. 33,000 points separating these two right now, which is about a Tetris at this speed. Sodium with a long bar dependency in column 8 gets it filled in. Now is Tetris ready. Sodium taking a double here. DanV now Tetris ready as well. Both are waiting for the long bar. There's the Tetris for Sodium. DanV still waiting on that long bar. Takes another double. Still has the well open. Is Tetris ready? Sodium on 1,053,000. DanV 1,086,000. 30-plus piece drought again for both players here. Not what both players want, but DanV gets the Tetris here. And so will Sodium after a 33-piece drought. And DanV transitions the kill screen, 1,130,000 at Tetris for DanV. And another Tetris for DanV, up to 1.2 million points. Sodium, 1.116 million. Now level 31 for Dan, level 30 for Sodium. Board's starting to climb. Sodium gets the long bar over to the very left side. And a nice triple there for Sodium as well. DanV, meanwhile, just taking those singles, doubles, and triples. Making sure to keep that board low. Sodium looking for some good pieces to get some doubles. Get some doubles done there. DanV now leading by a Tetris and a half. 1.242 million to 1.195 million. Now 1.2 for Sodium. Gap of about 50,000 points. Sodium with a clean board now. DanV looking to try to set something up here. Has a long bar dependency in column 4. Gets it filled in. Gets a couple nice burns there. Still leading by about 60,000 points over Sodium. 1.226 to 1.287 million points for both players here. DanV's board is starting to climb. Needs a long bar. Desperately. It's not going to arrive. And DanV tops out at 1.287. Sodium on 1.237 in a chase down. Target score 1.288 million points. And a Tetris for Sodium is going to get him over the line. Sodium will take game number 3, match point. And it looks like Sodium is going to mullen this one out. Wants to get to 39 and potentially a little bit beyond that. And of course we're going to let him. Level 38. Let's see how high this is. 1.4. And it's going to set up for the 30 Tetris on row 3. There it is. Sodium, you could have gone for the level 40 there. Oh man, still 1.5. Down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Siler saying, PH schologically. I think the gloves are all placebo, Siler? That it's just like in their heads? Maybe it is, but if it works for them, it works for them. Dog saying that Sodium might be A tier in Aura after this match. I assume that you would be S tier, Dog? That no one can be on your level of Aura? Well, I know one person that is. Me. Actually, I'm in my own tier. I'm in the double S tier of Aura when it comes to being a Tetris restreamer. I'm in the double S tier. Cap, no cap. Because I said so. Because I decide myself. I just have that much Aura. I decide myself where I'm on the tier list. Because I've earned that respect. By being me. I'm so good that coming 48th in C2WC Dash just adds to my Aura. Because I'm so good, I don't even need to do well in tournaments. I can just, like, suck horribly. And, you know, it makes me better. Somehow. I don't know. That's weird logic. Sodium couldn't get the S-piece in the right position there. Oh no! Sodium's in trouble! And Sodium tops out at a 137,034-piece drought! My goodness! DanV in a chase down, target score 129. Or target score on 129, target score 137. And there it is, 155. DanV gets it done. We're gonna get ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tetris. It's not non-alcoholic Guinness. How do you know? Maybe it is. Maybe it is, and you're just assuming things about the beverage. I mean, it's my thing, so I decide what it is. And if you want to believe it's non-alcoholic Guinness, then it is. And if you don't believe it is, then that's your belief. I'm not going to stop you from thinking that. It's up to your interpretation if it's non-alcoholic. Did Guinness World Record copy the thing? Yes, they copied me. Guinness World Record copied me. I'm looking for royalties immediately. Both players have started off with a couple of Tetrises on the board. Tetris for DanV to go up to 91,000. Sodium in the lead, owing to a couple burns on 92. DanV with another Tetris to go up to 114. Sodium responding 115. I'm sure the burning embers of rage will naturally cool after a pint of Guinness. That is true. That is true, Mr. Dusting and Flying. They better pay me what I... Exactly! I'm looking for trillions in damages to the AdamIrish experience cause. $183 for DanV, $163 for Sodium. And a Tetris 4, both players there. Tetris for Sodium and Tetris 4, DanV. We're pretty much even here. Why do you have to pay for bits? Ask Twitch, I guess. I don't know. I don't make the corporate decisions at twitch.tv, but yeah, bits cost money. But that money goes towards making Classic Tetris League even more perfect than it already is. But of course, it is entirely optional. It's entirely up to you whether you want to contribute or not. And yeah, as stated, all will go towards making CTL even bigger and even better. Tetris for DanV to go up to 350, Sodium 328. Tetris 4 Sodium here. DanV with another Tetris here. Both players with a clean board. Sodium Tetris ready again. And so is DanV. Both players now with a Tetris again on the board. And only a 1 Tetris advantage here in favor of DanV. Sodium will get another one there. And DanV not able to use that long bar for a Tetris, so we are pretty much neck and neck once again here. Yeah, I'd accept either. Like, the $1,007,000,000 would be great. But, you know, I'll take a sorry note. As long as it's not in Comic Sans. Tetris for DanV here, going up to 444. Sodium Tetris ready. There's the long bar. Tetris for Sodium. 446. Both players approaching 100 lines on level 18 now. Level 19 transitions will be coming in about 30 lines or so for both players. And a Tetris there for DanV to go up to 514. 2 Tetris lead now over Sodium. Sodium with the Tetris to go to 492. $300 to the power of 23. That's a lot. Yeah, whoever wins literally becomes like a millionaire, or probably even more. Let me calculate this. 500,000 for Sodium, 550 for DanV here. Probably like a ultra mega trillion billionaire, I think they would become. But at the moment, DanV is ahead by 2 Tetrises and will transition to level 19 on 622 and Sodium 595. So again, great transition scores from both players. Let's see if they can keep it up in level 19. Yeah, exactly. Can you enter Tetris tournaments under 18? Are you referring to age? Or are you referring to the level selection? If you're referring to age, of course, you can enter a Tetris tournament under the age of 18. Absolutely. Some of the best Tetris players in the world are under the age of 18. As for level selection, it depends on what tournament you enter. I mean, have you ever heard of this guy, Blue Scooty? He's like, I don't know, 4 years old or something, and he's like the GOAT, or so, I don't know. You may have heard of him. He's like 3 months old or something, I don't know. Something close to that. Close enough. Yeah, close enough. Close enough. 761 for DanV, 739 for Sodium. Now an 819 for DanV here. Both players are looking to get Tetris ready. DanV is Tetris ready, so is Sodium. Tetris for DanV. Both players now on level 23, a line deficit of about 7 here. Famous 3-month-old blue Scooty. Exactly. So good that when he crashed the game, he wasn't even born yet, actually. Fun fact. He wasn't even born. That's how young he is, guys. Both players now on level 24. DanV on 25, 944. Sodium, 892. 51,000 points separating the two, which is about a Tetris and a half at this speed. Did my music turn off? I hope it didn't. Whatever. We don't need music. Level 25 now. 78% Tetris rate for DanV, so 75 for Sodium. There we go. Music's back. We're back, guys. 989 for DanV. Both players now max out at virtually the same time here on level 26. Just 2,000 points separating them. Tetris for DanV and Tetris for Sodium. Level 27 now. They try to take Scooty's achievement away because of some technicality of being in... What, is being in utero like an illegal maneuver or something? Tetris for DanV. Both players now on 1.1 million, 5,000 point lead for DanV. This is as close gets, ladies and gentlemen. Level 28 for both players now. Level 29 arriving. Let's see if both players can have a good board going into 29. Let's see if this duel to the death can continue. Remember, winner takes all in Game 5, and DanV goes to 29 on 1.175 million. And Sodium looking for that 1.2 and gets the 1.2 in the level 29. Just 14,000 points separates the two of them right now. DanV taking some singles. Sodium just keeping within a quarter Tetris here of DanV here. This is so nail-bitingly close for both players here. 1.22 million to 1.23. DanV still in the lead. Level 30 to level 31 here. Only a line deficit of about 5 or so. 2 frame advantage. Level 32 now. Both players still fighting. Still relatively low on the stack here. Sodium needs a long bar. Takes a triple there. Doesn't need the long bar now. Takes the long bar in column 3. DanV is still fighting here. Neither player looks eager to go for Tetris. Eager to go for Tetrises at the moment, just opting to play it safe, which is working. DanV is extending its lead out slightly to 50,000 points. A Tetris and change in the lead, and Sodium doesn't get the L piece over. Needs to slide that long bar over to the left-hand side. Gets the well back open, opting to just try to play it safe instead. There's a massive drought, 40 line drought for DanV here, and now Sodium has to try to survive that as well. And gets the long bar. Oh, but can't rotate a single there for Sodium. Sodium trying to survive here. DanV's now 60,000 points in the lead. 1.29 to 1.35. Sodium's in trouble, hangs a T. Tops out at 1.294. DanV 1.35 will take game number 5. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the set for DanV. Incredible match. Nail-biting stuff. Level 29 arriving here. 2 more line clears or a Tetris will get her to level 29. Tugi, meanwhile, is on 995. Sidnev goes to level 29 on 1,072,000. Tugi's on 996. Max out is around the corner, and it'll be a max out transition for Tugi in the 29, 1,033,000. So Sidnev with a slight advantage going into kill screen here, but